Hello and welcome to another episode of Shed Customs TV, and in this episode we're going to be going through the process of building a IOM TT replica oil tank. And we're doing that because I had a contact through Instagram that had seen one of my posts for the oil tank I made last year, and he contacted me and asked me if I'd be interested in making a tank for him. So I gave it a bit of thought, and I thought, well, I've made one before, so there's no reason why I shouldn't make another one. So the idea of this video is to sort of give you an insight into what it takes to make an oil tank from scratch. Now, I'm very fortunate that I've got the original drawings from the IOM factory of the TT tank. So I've got a drawing which I can work from. And basically it's a process of converting that drawing into a flat drawing, if you like. So from a 3D sort of perspective drawing into a flat sheet, so that you can work out the piece of metal that you need to cut out and the sizes and the angles and the positions of all the cutouts, that you can then fold that back up and turn it into an oil tank. And I'm going to take you through those processes. Maybe not all of them, but certainly the majority of them. So I hope you enjoy the video series. Please give it a like and a subscribe, and follow along with the build. Thanks very much. So here is the IOM factory drawing. You can see here it's got twin fillers. You've got the oil return, and then at the very bottom, I don't know if you can make that out, but that is the oil feed, which works out at the bottom of the tank. And then you've got various fixings to attach it to the bike. So not the most complicated thing, but quite difficult to make and attach all the parts together so it still looks like a complete thing, and it obviously doesn't leak when you're finished. And here is the one I made earlier in true Blue Peter style. So you've got the twin fillers. I understand that the idea behind the twin fillers was that back in the day when you were racing these things, the mechanic could come along and fill up the oil tank from either side, depending on where the pits were, to replenish oil that might have been used while it was out on circuit. Here's the oil return feed. So this would have an olive and a tube that goes back to the engine, which would then supply the oil back to the tank. And if I turn around to that, hopefully you can see that is the feed, which obviously is in a hollow at the bottom, so it's the lowest part, so it doesn't matter what the bike's doing, where it's leaning, this would always be in oil and would allow this to be able to draw to the oil to feed it. And then here we've got this arrangement where you've got these raised sections which basically clamp on the frame tube. So the tank's supported in that way, and for this one I've drilled the bolts so I can lock wire these together when it's all attached. Now this particular tank of mine is going to have, or has got, what we call butterfly caps. So they're the ones with like a butterfly wing on the top that you twist round, whereas the one that I'm being asked to make is going to have the really expensive CMC, which is Coventry Movement Company caps, which used to be fitted to Brough Superiors and things like that. So that's going to be a very nice job. As you can see, we've got the little details of the rivets, and again on this section, if you can make that out. So that's what we're going to try and make. It's not going to be the work of 5 minutes, as you can imagine. When I built the first one, obviously I was learning how I was going to make it, what the best way of approaching it was going to be, and that took over 2 weeks. So this time I'm hoping it won't take any longer than that, but we'll see, and we'll bring you along for the journey. So hope you enjoy it. So what I'm going to do is draw out a plan of what this would look like if I laid it out completely flat as a flat piece of metal. So let's see how we get on with that. So this is the flat section, and then if you can appreciate from the drawing, hopefully you can see this, you've got a radius in each corner, which I've worked out would be made from a 30mm diameter tube. So if you work out what a quarter of that circumference would be, it's 23mm. So what I'll be doing is using that line to bend this piece up to make the radius. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw out the 23mm, which would be the section that would be left or be used to bend the radius. All will become apparent, as they say. There's probably people asking, what the hell were you doing? Why aren't you using CAD/CAM, SketchUp, and all sorts of other things? Which is, yeah, it's a good question. It's probably because I haven't got those sorts of things, and hopefully while I'm doing this, it's refreshing my mind and remembering how I went about it when I made it last time. Well, that's my excuse and I'm sticking by it. Take me back to those days when I was doing technical drawing in school. Not that you'd know that from the way I'm going about this, but anyway, you get the idea. Okay, so So next we've got an angle of, according to the drawing, of 54 degrees. I'm just going to line the protractor up. And here is the finished drawing. So you've got here, this is looking from above, looking down, and obviously it tapers out as it gets to the bottom. You've got the bottom oil to supply. So this is what it looks like when you take the tank and you flatten it out. So basically we're going to transfer these dimensions and this shape onto a piece of steel, and then fold that piece of steel up until it makes an oil tank.